Growing old for most in Germany means settling down into a life of peace and quiet. The health system is good and pensioners are taken care of. Many Germans look forward to the autumn of their lives in which enjoyment replaces the daily grind of work. But that picture of retired bliss could be about to change.
These days, pensioners are living in a golden age, and they should enjoy it, because future generations of pensioners can't expect the same levels of care. How could they, when there is nobody left to pay for it?
Herwig Birg used to work as a government advisor. Since the mid-1970s, he's been warning of impending demographic problems, not just for Germany, but for almost all industrialized countries. In 2050, almost 1 in 2 citizens in Japan will be older than 60. Germany isn't far behind. China, Russia, and Brazil are also facing a rise in the number of elderly. The situation is slightly better in the U.S., and countries like India and Kenya are unlikely to have a problem at all. There are currently 20 million pensioners living in Germany. That means 20 million potential votes for the party that best represents pensioners' interests and promises them ongoing high standards of living, regardless of shifting demographics.
I wouldn't mind at all if pensioners came to power.
More power is not a bad idea. It would be good if the elderly were given more power. After all, we used to call the shots.
I'd say it's important for pensioners to organize themselves, to have representation and not just let themselves be pushed around.
But democracy researcher and writer Wolfgang Gründinger begs to differ. He says young people don't have a lobby and that the elderly exploit them.
There is an escalating struggle in society. Each euro can only be distributed once. So the question is, who wins when a society grows older? Will the money be spent on pensions, or will it go on education and childcare?
In the 1950s, the financial burden of one pensioner was spread among 5 people of full earning capacity. In the early 90s, it was down to just 4. And in 2006, to 3. In the future, the burden will be borne by just 2 or even 1 person.
It's unreasonable. They can't double Social Security contributions, and they can't cut pensions in half. It's an insoluble dilemma. A radical solution would be to do away with retirement, so that people all have to work until the end of their lives.
But working till your dying day isn't always an option. Many need to be taken care of, something which in Germany is funded by Social Security contributions. But the coffers are almost empty. To date, there is no replenishment plan. At the same time, the number of those in need of nursing care is set to rise. In 2009, there were 2.3 million Germans in need of nursing care. That number is likely to rise to almost 3 million by 2020, and as many as 3.4 million in 2030. As far as Herwig Birg is concerned, Germany missed its chance to tackle the aging problems by promoting higher birth rates.
The reality is that we are now at a stage where all we can do is adapt. We can't change the way things have developed. It's almost like closing the stable door after the horse is bolted.
It is not the age of a society that matters, but how much it produces, how productive an economy is. If we invest in education and economic productivity now, with new environmentally friendly technology and new energy sources, this economy and this society will be rich enough to take good care of an aging generation.
In order to grant pensioners a good standard of living in the future without putting too much pressure on the young, everyone has to work together. After all, the old were once young themselves, and the young will one day be old as well.